educate, and elevate. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Portia. So let's get right into it. I know on our 14th episode, which was last week, we discussed DMX, and at that time his prognosis wasn't looking good. Unfortunately, he has crossed over. Literally like the next day, he crossed over. So prayers out to his family. Rest in peace to him. It has me actually thinking, what's so crazy is people's light seems to shine the brightest when they die. Like after they, pass, it seems like the light that they had in them shines the brightest. I actually have been looking at a lot of the videos that have been resurfacing, and what's crazy to me is even though he had all that trauma and demons that he was battling, he still was able to remain humble in the best of times and even in the darkest times. It actually puts me in a situation where I want to get to even know more about him. So I was like on the internet, just searching up, just listening to his story, knowing his story and listening to his story. And it's just an unfortunate situation that he is like one of the examples of little black boys, little black girls, basically black and brown kids who have PTSD, and those little children grow up to be adults who still have that PTSD and who are still battling their demons, but they don't know how. So, it's just a messed up. Like I always say, guys, if you've heard me in podcasts before, it's just a messed up situation. We are all black people. We have inherited PTSD. We're good at sweeping things under the rug and dealing with them the best way that we know how to deal with them. And sometimes the way that we deal with them may not be in the healthiest way for our vessel, our body. And there's too many of black kids, black people in general, who are getting taken out, whether that's by the prison system, whether that's by the war on ourselves, and of course, last but not least, the police, by the hands of the police, aka modern day lynching, which actually brings us into today's topic. Daunte Wright, another rest in heaven, another black boy gone way too soon. And if anybody has seen the body footage, the body cameras that they actually released, the Minnesota police released, it's all over the news. And I know a lot of you guys are looking at the video. Well, I don't want to say a lot of you guys. Actually, instead of me trying to put my interpretation on what you guys think, and that goes for everybody, I would like to hear your perspectives. So definitely put your perspectives in the comments below. But when I look at the video, and I know there's going to be individuals that said, hey, well, he didn't comply. The fact of the matter is, we have a police officer that claimed to make a mistake and thought that she was using her taser when in reality, she was using her gun. Now, that's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. There are some professions, careers, jobs, all same thing. There are some professions, careers, jobs, all same thing. I had to say that again so y'all could hear me. That there is no room for error. There is no room for mistakes. Being a doctor, there's no room for mistakes. Being a pilot, there's no room for mistakes. Anything that you have to, that deals with somebody's life, there is no room for mistakes. So when I watched the body cam initially, before the chief of police made his little statement, and we'll get to that, honey. Before the chief made his statement, they indicated that, well, when I watched the video, I was trying to actually look and say to myself, okay, now, what excuse are they going to give? And the excuse that I thought they were going to give was, he wasn't complying, we thought he was going to grab a gun, and so we shot him. Even though that's some bullshit too, right? But the statement that the police chief gave was that it was an accident, the taser accident we just spoke about. That's the excuse that he gave. Now, when I first heard that, I'm thinking to myself, like, well, that's some bullshit. But also, this had to be a rookie. Like, she must have came straight out of the academy or something. It must have been her first day on the job. And lo and behold, this woman has been on the job for 26 years. 26 years. That's older than my baby brother. 26 years you've been on the job that long. And then when you watch the video, you see this woman holding this gun and repeatedly say, I have a taser, I'm gonna tase you, I'm gonna tase you. Now, out of all those warnings that she gave, you mean to tell me that she didn't realize that she had a black big piece of artillery and it wasn't the light yellow taser that you would usually use? You mean to tell me that she didn't realize that? That sounds like some bullshit. And it's ridiculous that we have to hear these stories over and over and over again. Over again. This boy didn't even get to live his life. He had a 1-year-old, I believe. How is that a mistake? How is that a mistake? The reality of the situation is, out of any other profession, the police are the only ones that make mistakes as it relates to black people. Our death is the only one. Oh, it was a mistake. Oh, it was a mistake. How can mistakes only be valid when it relates to black people and their lives? That doesn't make any sense. Make it make sense, please. These type of mistakes should not happen. And that's why people need to be, well, police officers need to be held accountable. And then they say that the reason why he got pulled over was because of his registration, like his license tags had expired. We all know what's going on with COVID. So I guess in Minnesota, there is, right now, there's actually a grace period or some sense of leniency as it relates to the tags because of COVID. You know, not being able to go into the DMV. Illinois experienced the same thing. And I'm sure any other state experienced the same thing. So why was he even pulled over in the first place? Then on top of that, this warrant that he got killed for. It was so serious to have to shoot this man over a warrant. And in reality, the warrant was just because they had an incorrect mailing address. That was the warrant, an incorrect mailing address. That's what his life was worth. An incorrect address that they had for him. So when these things happen and we start to ask questions, they don't like that. They don't like for us, and when I say they, I'm speaking about the police. I'm speaking about law enforcement. Law enforcement does not like for you to ask questions or for them to feel like their little bit of power is being taken away. And it's crazy because you would think with everything that's on camera right now, you would think that people that these officers would be a little bit more lenient. Well, not even lenient. That's the wrong word. They would be a little bit more careful on how they approach the situation. I mean, do you like being another viral person? You probably do. You probably do. You probably go to some type of secret little club and infiltrate police officers as a way to take black folks out. And I know that sounds drastic, but it has to be something. It has to be something as to why you would think that police officers would be walking on a tightrope right now, like one of those long ropes. You would think that, but that's not the case. And I believe the reason why it is the way that it is, aside from that, my opinion that I just stated, is like literally they are so embedded with white supremacy blood coming out their pores that in an impulsive situation, you can't even think straight. Your impulses can't even allow you to think straight and think that this is somebody's life. But when it's all said, it was a mistake. And to go back to the people that may say, well, he should have complied. Yeah, let's go back to those people. We're damned if we do and we damned if we don't. Look how many videos that we've seen with people complying. As a woman, I'm going to have to big ups to Sandra Bland, my Aquarius sister. I don't know her, but I know she's an Aquarius. A beautiful soul who was just asking questions as to why she was getting pulled over. Oh, they don't like being questioned. It's like their pride and their ego is being messed with. They don't like that. Same thing with George Floyd. When the crowd was said, hey, well, you know, why don't you take the knee off of his neck? Your pride and your ego wouldn't allow you to because you don't want to be wrong. You want to have all of the power in that moment, especially over this black man. But it's a mistake. We have to start looking at the reality. And I know a lot of us do. And honestly, that's why I said, put how you feel or put your thought processes of some solutions or certain things in the description link. Well, not in the description link, but in the comment section below. Please comment. I would love to hear people's thoughts and ideas, and as well as questions. And this is for not just black, but green, white, blue, yellow. I know that sounds like a Dr. Seuss character I'm probably naming right now, but I would like to hear your thoughts on the matter. Because the craziest thing about all of this is that Daunte Wright's story, his narrative, the end of his life that was written, occurred 10 miles from where George Floyd was murdered. And George Floyd's trial is still going on as we speak. So if you telling me that there's not no problem, and you're telling me that mistakes that only relate to black people is normal, there is an issue. There is a big issue. I can see exactly why, when you see stuff like this, I can see exactly why that black Army officer in Virginia was scared for his life. I can see why. A man that serves this country. Yeah, serves this country, an Army officer. And I say Army officer because that goes for those individuals that say, hey, you shouldn't kneel on the national anthem because that's disrespectful to the United States. Well, isn't it disrespectful to the United States to have an Army officer being treated the way that he was? And if this grown man who's lived his life is in fear, what do you think this little boy is in fear? That's probably why he got to running, because he didn't understand what he did. He didn't understand what he did. That's why he was scared. Or what about that gentleman in Wisconsin? Isn't that Kenosha, Wisconsin? He probably feared for his life too. Like, let me make sure my kids are straight. But I'm not going to tase this man. I'm just going to shoot him. And you know what? That narrative is actually the same as the narrative that we seen yesterday. The only thing that got that woman trumped up is the fact that you could hear her in the camera, in the body cam say, I'm going to tase you. Had not you heard her voice, if you didn't hear her say that, they would have been painting the same narrative that they did last summer in Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that man is free and back to work, and he can't even move his body anymore. Another factor that pushed them into filing charges on this woman is really the fact that George Floyd trial is going on right now. This is the same narrative that has been painted over and over again. So let's take a look at a clip from 1971 with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin. They were both activists. Let's see what they think about the police.
A cop is a cop.
Well, cops are white.
And and he may be a very nice man, but I haven't got the time to figure that out. All I know is he's got a uniform and a gun. And I have to relate to him that way.
Really
That's the only way to relate to him at all. Because one of us is one of us may have to die.
One of us, in New York, there's a big campaign going on to humanize the policemen, and they have billboards upstate, and they have a picture of a big cop bending over this little blonde girl. And the sign say, and some people call him Pig. And I wanted to buy a billboard. I told a friend of mine, I want to buy a billboard and show this big cop and this 14-year-old kid with 30 bullets in him and saying some people call him Peacemaker.
Not much has changed, has it? Not much has changed, has it? Thought processes are still the same. And then, when we get asked questions, we don't get any type of answers. They asked the police chief, when he made his statement, they asked him a bunch of questions that, pertaining to everything going on. And he knew he was up shit's creek. He knew it. That's why his mouth was shaking like somebody who had Parkinson's. Let's listen to the responses we got from some of the questions that we asked.
The police officers in the United States keep killing young black men and young black women far higher rate than they do white people.
I don't have an answer to that question.
In the midst of a pandemic, why was it a priority to pull someone over for expired tabs?
And I don't know if that was a priority, but it was a violation that the officer observed and initiated a traffic stop.
Are you aware that there's a significant delay in getting tabs and things of this nature from the DMV? So even people who have purchased tabs are unable to get them because there's a 2 to 3 month backlog? And have you made any type of recommendations to your staff to be mindful that we're in the middle of a pandemic and don't pull people over for tabs, particularly because there is a significant delay in getting those tabs from the Department of Motor Vehicles? Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
Police.
I am aware of that.
Is your staff aware of that?
Yes, they are.
Wasn't much he could say, was it? It wasn't much he could say at all. And this is the problem. This is part of the PTSD. This is part of the lack of trust in police officers. So at this very moment right now, Minnesota is actually doing a petition, and I'll put the information up. The state of Minnesota is actually doing a petition, and I'm going to put up that information in the description link below. But basically what they proposed, I guess, the people of Minnesota, is that they want to take away policing as it relates to traffic stops altogether, or like trafficking or whatever in that form, traffic stops. Now, in reality, I do think that there is some type of structure that is needed on the road. But what's sad is that the option, well, I should say the solution that we chose as that we're stating as an option is just to stop policing altogether on the road. And I don't know the dynamics of this. I don't know if this pertains to minor things like, expired traffic tags or speed. I don't know the dynamics of it. But I think we all can agree there has to be law and order on the road. But the fact that we keep being mistakes for the police during these traffic stops, like the only solution, like the desperate solution that we can give is, okay, well, if y'all don't know how to police on the road, just stop all traffic stops. And I don't think that's the answer, but I don't know what else is. I don't know what else is. That's why I really want you guys to comment and really put some ideas and questions to the table so that we can start this type of dialogue, because this is ridiculous. Like, it's numbing. It's numbing at that point. And for a mother with black children, for that to be numbing, there's a problem. I'm scared for my children, but I don't even want to say it's numbing, right? Because it's hurtful. Like, it's hurtful. I still feel some type of way when I see it. So the word numbing is probably not the best terminology, well, use of verbiage. But I would say it's not surprising. It happened again. And I notice, like, in this world that we live in, things always happen in clusters. Like, these mass shootings are going on right now. You notice that it's mass shooting after mass shooting. Same thing with police brutality. It seems to always be police brutality after police brutality. We just heard about the Army officer in Virginia. Right now, it's Daunte Wright. I pray to God it's nobody else. But definitely put your put some comments and thoughts and ideas. Like I said, I want to start a dialogue. I want to start a dialogue on this so that we can have this discussion. But with that being said, y'all, let's talk about our Black business shout out. Black business shout out. So there is this one, there's one Black business shout out I want to give a shout out to. And this is this arts bar in Chicago. It's called Some Like It Black. So if you're interested in sitting down, listening to some jazz, listening to some poetry, listening to some local artists, definitely check them out. They actually have a location in Chicago as well as Oakland. And you can grab you a nice cocktail. They're actually known for their smoothies. And they're also known for their tacos, and everybody loves tacos. So check them out. Again, as you always know, as I always do, because I'm a woman of my word, description will be in the link below. The second Black business shout out goes to a retail store in Chicago, but they actually have a website, and you already know where you're going to find that information. But it's called Silver Linings, and they have jewelry, they have apparel, they have books, they have music, they have it all. So if you're looking for any of that, also they have incense for anybody that wants to have some aromas in your house. Definitely check that out, check that information out. And for those of you that have returned, and for the new people, I sell Secrets products. So if you're looking for some beauty products, definitely check my website out. And last but not least, Shop Something Cute Boutique. Please check out my girl Renee's boutique. She sells grown and sexy clothing. She has fitness clothing. She has jean jackets. So definitely check that website out. The name is Shop Something Cute Boutique, but the website is shopsomethingcute.com. Okay? So like I said to you guys, as it relates to, this topic, and I'm not going to keep preaching about it because I want to actually have dialogue and things of that nature. So if you have any questions, as I indicated to you, please put your comments below. Also, I'll provide my email. It's zesinvestorsllc@gmail.com. Write me. Tell me some of your thoughts. Also, if you have a Black business that you want us to shout out, hit me up on that email as well. And as always, peace and blessings. And don't forget, go beyond the limit of the sky.